What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another review. A little fresh out of the old Dr. Sleep. Got an early screening of it. Thank God we finally actually made it to an early screening. We get tickets all the time and never actually make it to it because they tend to be too far away. But this one was close enough, and we made it. We are very tired. It's pretty late right now, and it's been a long day in general. So went into it tired. But first thing I could say, 2 hours and 33 minutes was not tiring whatsoever.
Agreed.
She flew by pretty quick. And the first thing, the first point I want to make is I went in kind of blind to this movie. I have not read the book. I've read The Shining. I've seen The Shining a million times, and I've read that book.
Same.
But I have not read Dr. Sleep, and I only saw the first trailer that came out.
Mm-hmm.
I think we reacted to one, didn't we? Forever ago. I don't remember.
We were going to, but I don't think we ended up doing it.
Well, I saw that one, the one from way back when.
Yeah.
I didn't really know what the movie was like about. I just knew it was Danny, and we were going back to the Overlook Hotel at some point.
Yeah.
That's really all I knew. And the trailer kind of makes it seem like the movie takes place at the Overlook Hotel for the most part. And I'm actually really glad that it doesn't. They make you want it, and once you get it, it's awesome.
Yeah, honestly, you start to forget. You're like, oh man, are we really? Was it just for the little flashback scene we get early on? But nope, there it is. Yeah,
they do a really good job with that, and it makes you appreciate the rest of the film.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a nostalgic trip. Okay, it's there. There are things you will notice. There's a ton of Easter eggs, especially by the time you get there. But the rest of the movie, two-thirds, maybe three-quarters of the movie isn't. And that is just as good as when you're there, and that's important.
Yeah, completely.
Otherwise it would suck.
Completely agree with that.
What I was gonna say is that I was looking at Rotten Tomatoes reviews, just the headliners of it. I didn't actually read deep into reviews, but every single one I saw that said Rotten was for the same reason: either it's not as good as The Shining, or it's not scary. And both those are fucking stupid. First of all, why don't I know it's a sequel and all, but you're talking a 40-year gap here. It's been 39 years, and you're talking about one of the most iconic horror films of all time, arguably the best horror film of all time. And why even bother trying to beat it? That's not what they're trying to do. Mike Flanagan was smart, took a very different turn with it, was able to incorporate Stephen King while still playing, giving respect to Kubrick at the same time.
And then throwing his own modern Mike Flanagan style on it.
Yeah. And it felt like Mike Flanagan. It felt like the scary vibes you felt from The Haunting of Hill House. It's there. So is it scary? You're not going to jump out of your seat the whole time. In fact, I really don't recall any true jump scares. Not like we know from this generation. Are there lifts in music from here and there? Are there things that kind of shock you a little bit? Yeah, here and there.
The classic stinger is there.
Yeah, but it's not used in a cheap way. There's nothing like that, and it's mainly suspense. It's mainly more of a thriller type of thing, and there's a mystery to it, and that's why I enjoyed the film. I truly thought it was fantastic.
Yeah,
I went in kind of flatlined.
Yeah, Mike Flanagan killed it again, man. Everything he puts out is great.
Yeah, and I didn't want to, because I love The Shining, but it's not something I would fanboy over. I didn't really think a sequel was necessary. I was in that kind of spot, but it adds so much to The Shining. It adds so much to that original story that it's worth it, and it deserves respect for that.
Yeah, I mean, I watched The Shining again today, knowing we were going to see it tonight, and oh my god, perfect. I wish we could have double featured it.
Yeah,
at the theater.
That's only a matter of time before that starts being a thing.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah, it definitely adds to it a lot. It's kind of like what Star Wars films did that? It's kind of like how Rogue One adds to A New Hope. It's like that, but not as shitty. Yeah, it's. I know. I mean, some people love Rogue One. I'm not a big Rogue One guy, but I think it does add tremendously to A New Hope, and I respect it for that. Dr. Sleep does the same type of thing, but does it, actually with a good movie.
Right. And just to add the performances. Was there a bad performance?
No. And we could go into we'll talk more and more about this film. I think there's so much to say about it because there's so many Easter eggs, and there's so many callbacks to The Shining that like you have to talk about spoilers to get it all out. We're not gonna do that here. This will be spoiler free, but yeah, there's one in particular that is just it's so good that I was shocked. And I was like, oh, wow. There's two actually in particular that are like so spot on. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, salute to those guys. But all around, it was a good movie. I was not distracted by Ewan McGregor. No. I made one Obi-Wan joke, and after that, it was over, and I was on board.
No, he did fantastic. I wouldn't expect anything less.
Yeah, no, it's all good performances. It's really unique. It adds a shit ton to the original Shining while still being its own story. And like, you know, we went with Rachel as well, and she asked like, well, what didn't you like? I was like, I really don't know. I could like, there's one scene in particular that I can nitpick that like stood out to me. I was like, there's no fucking way that actually just happened. But like I said, I can't really dive into that until there's spoilers. But there's just one scene if I was nitpicking where I'm like, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Other than that, I just don't see how on Rotten Tomatoes they could give it a rotten. I mean, yes, it's either it's fresh or it's rotten. I just don't see how. Just because it wasn't as good as The Shining, they just download it all together. Yeah, like
if your two reasons for saying it's a bad movie are it's not as good as The Shining and it's not scary, just stop. Like, stop reviewing horror films. You don't deserve
to. How can critically you say this is a bad movie, you should not go see it because it's not as good as The Shining?
All right, well, I guess that's cuts out about 99% of horror films out there.
How can you seriously sit there and be a critic and say, I do not recommend this movie? How?
Yeah, I feel like if you don't like Dr. Sleep, you just don't like The Shining, or you are too much of a fan of The Shining and you can't look and see anything else.
Like even as I could see casual horror fans enjoying this movie.
Yeah, because it's not something that's a jump scare fest,
right?
Like what is scary? Like Rachel's not a big horror fan, right? Like my fiance's not a big horror fan, but she dug it. Like she liked it a lot because it's not. That's what she was so like when we got to the Overlook Hotel part. She like was squeezing me like fucking crazy because she was expecting dumb jump scares the whole time. But instead it's just suspense and there is relief and like
it's just Mike Flanagan, man.
Yeah,
she loves Mike Flanagan shit.
Yeah, because it's scary, but it's interesting.
Yes, exactly, and suspenseful.
Keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole time, yes. Which Dr. Sleep does like the entire time. And when it's not being scary, it's being interesting. Like it's still unique.
Yeah, it doesn't dip. There's no dip in or it doesn't slow down. I should say.
I was gonna say as well. There is like a main antagonist, which I'm not even sure if you see in the. I seriously don't recall ever seeing her in the trailers. But she's in the whole time, so it's not really like a spoiler. Like Rose, this new antagonist, it makes sense. It's an antagonist who you feel there's a true threat, and it works. It was a really unique idea to add a true antagonist because we no longer have a Jack Torrance. You need someone to fill that hole that's not just the same dumb ghost we've seen over and over again, but someone that has true power and is creating a risk for your protagonist. And I think they did that beautifully.
Yeah, definitely. That again, how could you say anything negative about it? I mean, once we come off the high, maybe we can think of some stuff. But like we said, we're doing this right after. I just can't say anything bad about it. Right now.
I'm sure there's some way we could you could nitpick it, right? Like you could go into that. But I think if you're a fan of The Shining, you're gonna dig it. I think if you just like horror films in general, you're gonna dig it. You can kind of go in there blind and enjoy it, but like knowing the Easter eggs as well just makes it a fun ride. I mean, like they're everywhere. The whole movie, there are Easter eggs,
but especially the third act.
Yeah.
And you'll know when you're in the third act.
Yeah. And they're like there without being thrown in your face and dumb. Like you have to actually pay attention. And I appreciate that. Yeah. There's a lot of like, hey, hey, not bad. So yeah, it was a fun ride. To rank it out of 10, I don't even know. I'd give it a
The Shining.
Like The Shining's like a fucking 9.5.
I agree. It's at a 9.5. Dr. Sleep, I'm putting it at like
I think an 8. I think an 8 at this time.
I think I'm going 8.5.
I think it's worthy of that.
Like I said, come down from the high. Maybe we can like it more, like it less.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. I think it has a place at home over there in the Stephen King film family. And it's something that he should be proud of as well. Hopefully he doesn't shit on this one like he did the original The Shining.
I believe he worked with Mike Flanagan. Gerald's Game. He worked with Mike Flanagan on that. So I imagine Mike Flanagan got the okay.
I think, like I said, I think Flanagan did a good job of paying respect to not just to Kubrick's film, but also to King's book.
Well, I mean, just there's a couple Easter eggs. I don't want to say any of them that I've seen, and some of them are from the book.
Yeah.
Dr. Sleep, and some are even from the book from The Shining, and not all just taken from the movie Shining.
Exactly. Well, that's our thoughts. Please tell me if you're going to go see it. Comes out November 8th. Make sure you go check it out. I definitely think it's worth it. I think it's worth going to see in theaters. I think this is another really key thing that I should have brought up. Sound design is incredible.
Yeah.
Like the whole movie, it's able to stay consistent. I don't know how to say this without spoiling anything. Like it calls back to specific sounds all the time throughout the whole film. And it does it so uniquely that I think seeing it in a theater area, also they take advantage of surround sound, like hearing things to your left and right. Go watch it in theaters. It's worth it.
Yes.
Your TV speakers are not going to do it justice when you rent it on fucking Redbox. All right. Go see it in theaters.
Yes.
That's my thoughts. November 8th. Go check it out. With that, that's going to wrap up today's video. If you enjoyed, make sure you drop a like and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. And of course, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. And we'll see you next time.